Definitely thank you all for joining us. It's always it's an honor, but it's also heart wrenching to have to still, after all of these years, over 40 years, fight on behalf of Mumia Abu-Jamal, one of our most important figures, freedom fighters, and political prisoners. Here in not only in the United States but on the planet. We're here because of the fact that we know that we've been told that there's an emergency heart surgery situation going on for him, and he hasn't been able to get in touch with any of his loved ones, including his wife, his spokespeople, Ham Africa, and of course his attorney Bob Boyle. So we're here today to make a call and say that the same way that we're hitting the streets when one of our brothers and sisters are murdered by the state, we need to hit the streets. We need to flood the streets for Mumia around the world, because oftentimes we get it twisted. We wait till our folks are deceased or transition to move forward. But I really want to hear from Bob, because of the fact that Bob is one of Mumia's attorneys, and I'm sure that his update will be a little bit sharper than mine.
Yeah. Good afternoon, and it's great to be here with you all, and thank you for having me. I'll start off with some good news. Mumia has had the surgery, and his doctor did reach his wife, and he's doing fine after the surgery. So that's a good thing. That's according to his doctor, so he's, according to the doctor, he's resting comfortably. We still do not know the specific nature of the heart issue that required the surgery. We've requested the medical records and so forth, and we expect to be getting them, I hope, before the end of the day, and that'll tell us, be able to tell us some more. Mumia himself, however, has not had the opportunity to speak with his wife or any of his closest supporters. We hope that will change within the next several hours. There's been indications that it might, but as of right now, that has not occurred. And just in terms of a little background on this, if someone is in prison and they require emergency surgery, they're taken to an outside hospital. Very often, as is true in this case, the prison system will not tell you where they are, right, for quote-unquote security reasons. And that's the situation we're in terms of Mumia at the moment. They will also, and we haven't confirmed this, but it's policy that a prisoner who's in an outside hospital, not on a prison ward, is kept shackled to his hospital bed, his or her hospital bed. Now, someone will say, is that cruel and inhuman treatment? Yeah, it sure is. I just wish that the courts would agree with that. I spent some hours today looking up some case law on this, and would you believe that courts have upheld women in the early stages of labor who are also prisoners being shackled to a bed in a hospital? But that's the state of the law, and that's the sorry state of the law, and which also makes it even more important that there is political support and outcry when people, particularly the political prisoners such as Mumia, are treated like this. But also, we need to recognize that this kind of thing, the treatment of people in hospitals, happens every day across this country. People from prison going to the hospital, outside hospital, and they're shackled, and they're chained, and they're denied communication. And this is something that has to be changed on the policy level. And if anything called for, illustrates the need for such a change, it's certainly what happened to Mumia over the last few days. If I might, I wanted to call out someone's name. On this Monday, I went to a Zoom memorial for Alvin Joyner, co-defendant of Russell Maroon Schultz and several others, and was in prison since 1970. And in a few months ago, I represented him. We had just filed a motion to vacate his conviction. He's 78 years old, or was 78 years old, contracted COVID at Chester Prison and was dead within 5 days. And this is after, being in prison since 1970. But there are a lot of Al Joyners. It really needs to energize us. It's a sad thing, but if anything can come of it, we need to, as Johanna said, particularly with respect to the aging prisoners, we need some real policy changes. And you mentioned, Johanna, the group RAP, Release Aging People in Prison. That was years of grassroots work that RAP did, changing the minds of even New York state legislators, who voted this year to end solitary confinement. And, I never thought I would live to see the day when the New York state legislature would pass such a bill. But we need to, do that grassroots work and see these political prisoners free.
No, and I was going to say definitely, we need to remember Romaine Chip Fitzgerald, 51 years behind bars in this shithole of a country. It's a criminal act to keep a man or woman who has, again, fought on behalf of, our liberation. I can't express the way I feel when I see folks, jumping up and down and screaming for, folks that they don't know. You know what I mean? They're concerned about what the rappers are talking about. They're concerned about all this other bullshit. But here we have brothers and sisters who literally fought tooth and nail for us to be on the right side of history. And I salute folks like Bob Boyle, who has fought to get folks like Dhoruba out, and folks like Marshall Eddie Conway and so many other political prisoners, while many of us have ignored, and unfortunately we become so desensitized here in America that when our loved ones are captured, it lasts a week or two and, we go back to normal. We forget, but there's so many brothers and sisters, so many comrades who've been fighting and who've been trying to survive, the Russell Maroon Schultz and the Sundiata Coleys. These are brothers. Sundiata's like, 81 years old, 82 years old, still being held.
I thought it was even 84. Yeah, but go ahead. Yeah.
84. Time just don't stand still. Mm-hmm. I mean, like I said, Chip Fitzgerald, I'm 50. He was locked up 51 years, my entire life. I mean, this is ridiculous, man. I mean, Mumia himself, the fact that even while behind bars, he's maintained his fight, his struggle. When the whole situation, we were fighting on behalf of Troy Davis, Mumia was sending out commentaries. You know what I mean? When the crazy shit with Dhoruba and I went down, Mumia was sending out commentaries. You know what I mean? He has his ear and finger to the pulse of the streets better than many of us who are out here now.
Indeed.
So it's imperative, man. We can't let him go out like that. Like I said, yes, this thing going on in Philly, we've been to Philly back and forth for the 50th, for the 60th, so on and so forth. But now around the world, we have to hit the streets, man. We got, if you're going to fight for someone, Mumia is a prime candidate.
But I just do want to acknowledge something that was acknowledged previously, which is that Bob Boyle has freed quite a number of Black political prisoners.
That's right.
Like, That's right. Singular. I mean, probably the attorney that has been involved in the most campaigns and legal work to free political prisoners in
Right
America.
on.
Hey,
So that's that's a book that's waiting, and a movie that's waiting to be made, and a story
And
that tell.
and a set of extended interviews here on Black Power Media.
that's
Yeah,
right. That's right.
absolutely.
I would quote.
Thank you very much. You know,
Hey,
there's
I'm
a
saying
lot of
first, Jared.
there's
So
a-
I'm
you
going to
know,
interview him first, okay?
I'm sorry. Oh,
I
of
said
course,
it first, so I need to interview him first.
no doubt.
but
We'll
there's
wait our turn.
I'm proud to also be a part of. We used to call us a cabal of lawyers, and I'll mention, there's been many African American Black lawyers who have been involved in this work, but there's also this cabal of white lawyers, radical lawyers, and I come out of that tradition. They trained me. And, of course, I have to say Dhoruba Bin Wahad trained me since I met him when I was 20 years old. And I'm still sane. At least I think I'm sane. But, there's a small and could be bigger, legacy of, radical attorneys who have, William Kunstler, Charlie Gary, Liz Fink, Bob Bloom, who were there when people were under attack and who were attacked themselves. Lynn Stewart, who I represented, were there, and we need more of them, that's
She
part
got
of our
punished
job
herself.
too,
Yeah.
is to, set forth for the next generation, because it's time for us to turn it over to you young people, and get the young people energized. So that's what we need to do.
Although, Bob, I'm sure you feel like, as many of us do, that once we get this round of political prisoners free, that kind of work will then be moot, right? There's not going to be any more political prisoners that need that kind of legal support going forward, right? I mean, this is it, right?
Say it with your tongue firmly in cheek. Yeah, I'm sure. Well, I mean, it's a different world now, but there's going to be similarities, as long as there's movements of resistance, there's going to be political prisoners. There's going to be people mowed down in the street, and we have to be ready for that.
Kalonji, I'm just a little behind the scenes of the programming here. I want to shout you out for and particularly credit you for making sure Bob got on here. You know of his work a lot, more closely certainly than I do, but just indirectly through, obviously following Mumia and talking to Dhoruba from time to time. I've had the pleasure of being in contact or indirectly or, offline with Bob, and a lot of fascinating work. So I just wanted to shout you out quickly for making sure he got here, because we do need to big him up while he's still here and try to bring him back on, after Johanna gets her round of interviews. We definitely need to hear more from him as well.
Without a doubt. If I would quote the aspiring capitalist 50 Cent, when he said Eminem is his favorite white boy, Bob Boyle is definitely my favorite white boy. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. A real quick story, man. We were doing we did a piece down here. I'm not going to name all the folks who were on the bill, but it was a bill with some narrow nationalists, and Dhoruba was on the bill. So Dhoruba brought Bob to the spot, to the venue. And his brother pulled me to the side. He's like, yo, who's that white boy, whatever, so on and so forth, man. Such and such ain't gonna want to speak if there's somebody white in the audience. I said, listen, man, don't go. I said, don't. He said, I'm about to go talk to Dhoruba. I said, no, you're not. I said, I'll go talk to Dhoruba because you about to get your feelings hurt up in this motherfucker. So I worked it out since I was the host. I didn't tell Dhoruba. I said, yo, D, I know y'all got to rush to the airport first. You want to go in and speak first? So he was like, yeah, okay, cool. But I was like, but when I got up there to address the audience, I'm like, some of you get so caught up in what a cat looked like. When you talk about our freedom fighters, a lot of black folks, a lot of black attorneys dropped out early, and some came in late and they got credit. And there's been folks like Liz Fink, and there's been folks like Lynn Stewart and Bob Boyle and and so many others that put in work, and of course we've had
And Ron Kubi,
without a doubt. And these are folks who got people out, and definitely salute to Chokwe Lumumba and all our brothers and sisters who put in that work as well. But, the thing is, we deal with truth. You know what I'm saying? We can't, we can't just say that, because of the fact that, we don't like white folks. You know what I'm saying? We're against white supremacy indeed. But we also accept whatever assistance we can get in the liberation of our brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? So let's not get it twisted. Some of you get caught up in, in the bullshit. There's some black folks out here. There's some grave diggers, grave robbers out here right now that's getting this money in the name of brothers and sisters who have been murdered in the streets. And we'll be talking about that on Renegade Culture tonight with Jared Ball.